Hello, welcome to the Arise with Anita podcast. I'm your host, Anita. Today's vibes are going to be all about the Pisces full moon. And here to lead us and guide us through, we have the beautiful Melanie Marisol, my good friend, trusted astrologer, to give us all the details on this Pisces full moon. So, my dear.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. I'm so grateful to have you. And I'm so excited to see what's going on because Pisces being a little bit of a more emotional sign, I know there's going to be a lot of work to do, which, let's be honest, we all associate full moon with having to do a lot of inner work, right?
Right. So for this full moon, it is going to be exact on August 30th of this year at 6:36 a.m. Pacific time or 9:36 a.m. Eastern time. So yes, very emotional full moon. And I feel like generally, collectively, everyone's kind of, I'm not gonna say freaking out. They are feeling topsy-turvy. So if you want, I can give you an overview of the astrological energies. And then if you want to share anything, go right ahead.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this overall vibe for this new moon or full moon, excuse me, is incorporating your spiritual practices that if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably doing every day. And you're doing it so that you can teach others how to do the same, since this full moon is also during Virgo season, which began in August and will be going through mid-September. So this is an emotional time of year, as we have Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and sextiling or interacting positively with Pluto, which is pretty reality shattering, and both Neptune and Pluto are retrograde. So it's a great time of inner emotional renewal and collective restructuring. So Neptune is here to ease in and put you into dreamland, whereas Pluto will destroy that which is unsustainable. So this is a time to kind of mourn the old world that we once knew pre-2020. But once we finally felt the emotions, then we can welcome in the new. So it's a time to wash away past disappointments, any business endeavors or business partnerships that didn't work out. You have to mourn and then release so that you can welcome in the new. So with that, we also have the moon in Pisces conjunct Saturn. So it's a time to get your emotions in order. So it's not about shoving them down per se, but it's about making sure your emotions don't control your long-term decision making. So feel the emotions, but give yourself enough space and time to think clearly and objectively before making any kind of brash decision. We got to think about the long term. Additionally, both Mercury and Venus are retrograde at the same time, which is very, very rare. It's not normal. It's not common. So it's a reminder not to go rushing in to making hasty decisions. So Mercury, the planet of communication, broadcasting, storytelling, learning, it looks like it's going backwards in its orbit from our location on Earth. So this means that tech issues may arise, you might fumble over your words, your mind isn't as sharpest as it normally is, maybe your joke game is off. Miscommunication can happen at any time, so give yourself enough grace in the event that you misspeak. Like, don't worry about it, be good to yourself. And finally, Venus is squaring Jupiter, while Jupiter is conjunct or on top of Uranus. So this could be a time of financial folly right now. So Venus, the planet of lesser fortune, it's ruling love, beauty, art, and money, and what people love to pay you for, is in a challenging interaction with Jupiter, which is the planet of good luck, expansion, abundance, and opportunity. So make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew. So with Venus going retrograde, you don't really have all the tools or information you need to make a good business decision. And with Mercury going retrograde, communication is off. So combined, not the best. If you must make a business move, give yourself enough time to dot your I's and cross your T's, but don't be rushing in anything. So don't bite off more than you can chew. And the full moon also occurs on a void of course. So that indicates poor timing to start a new business or to get married. Usually people that get married on a void of course get divorced, in my experience. So just an FYI. So it's best to make sure you have all your ducks in a row when signing your contracts or beginning new business ventures. So you are here to understand the importance of embodying all the ideals that you strive for so that you can teach others how to do the same in a calm, chill, mature manner.
So for me, what's coming up is just really also taking the time to dive into your past versions of yourself, kind of piggybacking on maybe past disappointments or whatnot, but actually taking it from a perspective of looking at in what ways have you been not growing in the ways that you would like, being completely honest with yourself. Where have you been holding yourself back or not shining your light? Where are you not actually staying committed to the things that you said you were going to commit to? Because whatever is going on in the astros, yes, it plays a part, but we cannot also blame the astros necessarily for the work that we are not doing. So it's like if there's a discrepancy of I want to manifest a certain level of success, but at the same time, you're not making the effort to get that success. Taking a look at that and not coming from a place of shame, but how can you make it where it's easier for you or where it's actually accountability, where you make it where you have either the tools, the systems, accountability to actually follow through.
Right. Exactly. So with that, we will go through the horoscopes for the sun, moon, and ascendants. So I will have timestamps. I'll put it in the description box, and I will also put them in the first comments below as well. So anybody who's watching this far, you can click to see what's going on with your sun, moon, or rising. And you can do all three. So again, take what resonates with you and discard what does not. Okay. So, and as I go along, Anita, you can always share what you want in between the signs. All right.
Beautiful.
All right. So we're starting with Aries, sun, moon, and risings. So this is a clean, clearing wash that's washing over your subconscious mind. It's a time to reflect on which habits, thought patterns, and mindsets that are not supporting your highest growth. So have you been feeling stifled with all the hustle and bustle around you? If so, maybe this could be a good time for a retreat to the lake or the seaside, any place where there's water, so that you can quiet your mind and chill out before you rush off into your next move.
And side note, I think I'm getting the call to just say, for Aries in specific, maybe it's time to actually rein in also on what emotions you're usually operating with. So if you maybe feel angrier, or if you're feeling like an era of like you have these emotions that aren't serving you, whatever they may be, guilt, fear, shame, whatever that looks like for you, maybe taking the time to slow down and see where is it that these emotions are coming from internally, and actually getting real with yourself and stop blaming the potential external circumstances, because we have to realize our external is just a mirror of what's going on inside of us. So at the end of the day, you may have a trigger, but you're only triggered because you're responding to whatever that circumstance is. I hope that made sense.
Exactly. All right, moving on, we have Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. So there is going to be a cleansing wave that washes away any groups and communities that are not a right fit for you anymore. So you might have intuitively felt a disruption in some aspect of your life, since Uranus, the unpredictable planet, is been in the sign of Taurus since 2018 and it is going to be there until 2026. So it's challenging. So this full moon is encouraging you to release who is no longer aligned with your highest good, and to instead focus on the types of people that your higher self would prefer to be surrounded with.
Side note, sometimes it's not that you have to release them entirely out of your life, but what you might need to be doing, what you might need to be calling in is just a little bit of a distance or boundaries, or maybe it's not necessarily you're even cold telling a person like, hey, I'm not talking to you, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's just you're shifting your environment of who you're choosing to surround yourself with. And naturally, the other relationships will take a pause, take a stillness, so that you can actually grow and become this version of you that you're calling in.
Right. We don't have to blow up a bridge, but you can distance yourself.
Boundaries.
All right.
Just getting firm on your boundaries for once.
Okay. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Risings. You're going to be having a clarifying wash over your career and life's work. So why are you striving for what you're striving for? Is it even what your soul is meant to be doing? Or is it what it's truly desiring? Or are you doing it to satisfy your ego? So where are you seeking public recognition? And how can you shift this desire from what you think you want to be known for to what you're really destined to be known for?
Sidebar, I really think for this one, it's about going inwards and seeing what actually speaks to you and what lights you up versus what you think is going to make you money. Because so many times people will get into a business or they will get into a job because they are thinking, this is what's going to make me X amount of money. If you take the money aside and you don't love what you're fucking doing, it's not the right one for you, babe. You will find that when you create the impact, when you create this level of service that you're in your own essence and you're going from that place of like, I just want to do something I'm passionate about, even if that's whatever type of job, you will find that the money will attract to you as you're in your alignment. So take a step back and really think about it from a perspective of, is it for the money and the accolades, or is it because it's actually freaking right? I actually love doing this. I can see myself spending 8, 10, 12, 16-hour days. Not saying you have to, but the point is, whatever it's going to require of you, if you're not going to be enjoying that process, it's not for you. Let it go.
Right. Now, there are people that have built a business just to make money, and then they had the money to do what they really wanted to do. So that can be somebody's actual path, which is fine for them. But if it is so much of a slog, it's kind of not worth your time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If it's been years, it's time to ditch it and move on. Okay. All right. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So there's going to be a wave of clarity, which illuminates your higher ideals, your zone of genius, also combined with your desire for adventure and travel. So you might feel like a homebody most days. That's what Cancer is. It's all about the home. But you have also been kind of feeling a desire to travel, or at least expand your horizons as well. So you don't have to go on a full-on like world tour expedition, but stepping outside of your comfort zone now and again will reinvigorate you and maybe open your mind to possibilities that you wouldn't have thought of if you're sitting at home all the time. So is there a place you're wanting to go? This is the time. Since school is beginning again for the kids and for the adults, it's also just time to get back into the workflow. So how can you have a little bit more fun before you have to really hunker down at the end of September?
And how can you bring joy while you're doing it? Whatever it is you do, even if maybe you're not actually traveling far, what if you're just choosing a new coffee shop to explore, or you're choosing a new hiking trail to go on? So taking it for what is it going to be and allowing yourself to have this moment of like slowing down and getting back into that I just want to do something, not because I'm going to make money out of it, not because I'm going to clear my energy, although you will in the process, but maybe the challenge is here to have some freaking fun, to actually enjoy life a little bit more and give you that creative feminine flow back.
Exactly. So with that, we are moving on to Leo, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So there's going to be a cleansing wave that wipes out the mystique surrounding the taboo. This is usually society's topics they don't want to talk about. So namely money, occult studies such as astrology or what some would consider conspiracy theories, and also sex and rebirth. Those are the big themes here for this full moon. So this is the time to really see what you've been avoiding clear as day. So when it comes to money, where are you not sure how to grow exponential wealth? You know, shoving all your money in a bank account isn't really the only option, nor is it the best. You know, how can you grow your money exponentially? Are there any opportunities or connections through other people that you could get into the stock market or real estate, something, just something to explore. Have you been avoiding your taxes because you don't know how to do them? So you're afraid you're going to mess it up. Are there aspects of yourself that you've been avoiding looking at? So how can you integrate the least likable aspects of yourself and the least pleasurable activities so that you can return to shining like the cosmic ray of sunshine that you are?
And I'm just getting an intuitive hit of taking a look at your own money stories here and really diving deep to whether or not you even feel like you deserve the money that you want. Because here's the thing, if you do not feel that you deserve it, you are worthy of it, and you are not certain of that outcome, you're not going to actually see it manifest. So really taking the time to freaking slow down and reassess, like, how does money even make me feel? Am I triggered by it? Am I comfortable with people who have money? What are my thoughts about people who have money? Because here's the thing, if you are not comfortable with people who have money, or you find them to be assholes, or money is bad, whatever frame of mindset you might have had, you're not going to be someone who is able to sustain making money. So it'll be this constant chain of like, I have the money, and then I have it. Oh, look, it went away. Some random big bills came up, or I just spent it all away because I don't feel safe with money. So take the time, really look at your money stories.
Right. How can we mature into the version of ourselves that can handle that? You know? Moving on, we have Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is a release around your relationships, namely friendships, romances, and business partnerships. So saying goodbye to people-pleasing tendencies and welcoming a new way of being that allows you to connect with people who do get who they get you, and they actually want to help and support you. So who do you need to release? Who do you need to forgive? And how can you move on to other people that can really support you?
And who do you need to set boundaries with? Again, if you think about it from a perspective of you don't have to release the friendship, but maybe it's just time that, hey, I'm not going to help you out with XYZ, or I have to focus on this for right now, and letting that be and taking it from a perspective of like, I'm going to hold boundaries. It's okay. It doesn't mean I love you any less. But right now I need to prioritize myself, my growth, my business, my healing, whatever that version of what you really feel you need is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the big theme here Anita's bringing up is boundaries. And it is true. We are in Pisces season. So Pisces is boundary less. So how can we establish healthy boundaries so we're not spilling out all over the place? Okay. So with that, we have Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So you're going to be watching as your daily routines, rituals, and obligations get washed away because we are in Virgo season. I personally am a Libra sun, so I have like intuitively been like, okay, I gotta change my summer routines, gotta get it lined up with my fall routines. So maybe in the summer I'm a little bit more loosey goosey. In the fall, I need to have more of a structure because I associate fall with going back to school. So you're left to discern which daily activities will support your highest mental optimization and health as well. So what needs to be released? How can you live seasonally with the seasons here? And how can you actually make space to harvest all that you've been doing over the past few months with your routines and rituals? Maybe you've been going to the gym more often. You're seeing physical changes. So how can you continue to support that natural growth without burning out the rest of the year?
Again, I'm just feeling really called while we talk about these routines and to really implement this moment of like, how can I allow myself to have joy? Because that so often is something we miss. And like thinking about it, really reassessing what are the little things you can incorporate to your day that they don't need to be financially like massive. They don't have to be going to a spa trip every week. But how can you incorporate maybe like a bubble bath or time to read if that's your jam, or something that's actually going to be like, oh my God, my soul feels like it's on fire. I'm doing this just to have fun and it's amazing. And I feel rejuvenated and I have this energy to actually cultivate and create and come up with this new energy of being in alignment and being able to find the flow of life again and incorporating just joy and peace into my daily day-to-day life.
Right, exactly. And actually, that's a good segue because with Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and risings, there's going to be a death and rebirth around the relationship they have with the inner child. So normally, Scorpio is known for being very intense, but this transition from summer to fall is inviting you to step into spontaneity and self-expression before you have to fall in line with the structural energies of the fall. So you spend a lot of time in shadow exploration, generally speaking, Scorpio. So now's the time to unleash the creative side of you by focusing on pure joy. So how can you infuse more joy and play into your day?
Amazing. So it's like, I'm really also going to challenge you to look at the things you enjoyed while you were a kid. Stepping into that. Maybe it's time to bring out some coloring books. Not giving a shit if it looks silly or ridiculous that you're in your 30s or your 40s or whatever age you are coloring. Maybe it's time you just go outside and sit on the swings like a kid and allow yourself to connect and actually find that flow. Or maybe it's about bringing things that you used to do pre-pandemic. So for me, I'm a Scorpio rising, and I'm actually going to a concert in a couple of weeks. So it's like, I used to love concerts. It was my jam. I love music. Maybe for you, that looks like either you go see a favorite band or you go see a movie you want to see, not for educational purposes, not because you want to see a documentary, but you go see something just to make you laugh or make you just feel like a kid again. Or maybe for you, this looks like actually taking the time to actually reconnect with old friends, old loved ones that you haven't gotten a chance to connect with, but maybe you were closer with when you were on your child journeys. So just taking what resonates, finding a way to bring in these little aspects of joy and fun, because so often we get so wrapped up in the day-to-day, what I need to do, that it needs to start having these little moments of joy so that you can actually enjoy your life that you are creating. Because if you're not having fun while you're doing it, why are you doing it?
I think it'd be great for people to go see the Barbie movie. So highly recommend if you're going to be like that. I like the Barbie movie personally, so it's good. It's good. Anyway, moving on to Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and risings. So you're going to be experiencing a wave of ancestral clearing. It's going to ripple through you during this full moon. So now is the time to drop any hostility towards your family. So both immediate or extended. You're really focusing on washing away the disappointments you might have experienced with your family so that you can have the space to dream up the kind of ideal family relationships you want to really have. Additionally, for those that feel at odds with their family, I know I do, it's always a good reminder to know that you incarnated this and you intended for this. So it's not so much like you made a mess. It's more of, okay, I decided to have this challenge and I know that I can overcome it. So maybe I could stop being dramatic. So having that wave of forgiveness as well is going to be very, very helpful for you during this full moon.
For me, what's coming up here is also looking at patterns, looking at these cycles that you guys already have in your families. And maybe for you, it looks like identifying things that are not serving you. Maybe you haven't had kids yet and you already recognize patterns that you don't necessarily want to pass down. Or maybe it's just identifying little habits that have passed down to generation that you weren't necessarily, if you don't pay attention, you wouldn't notice it is a pattern. And to just kind of give you a personal example, I found a few months ago, my grandmother bought something for her birthday, and literally it was on the day of her birthday. And she comes home, she shows us these pots and pans she bought, and they're Italian and blah, 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 good quality. And she's sitting here and she's justifying, I made this purchase because blah, blah, blah. I needed new pans. The old ones are no good. And then she goes on to say, I may return them. And for me personally, I noticed when I buy something or when my mother buys something, we go, I bought this. I bought it because this and this and this and this reason. And I may return it, but I'm not sure. I kind of really like it, so I may keep it. And there's almost like this guilt. And so for me, I was like, wait a second. And then I looked at the males in my family. And when it comes to the males, it's like half the time they don't show you what they bought because they don't give a shit to. Or if they do, it's literally a very matter of fact, I bought this. It does this, is maybe the extent of what you may get. But it's not, this is why I felt the need to buy it. And it's not this cultivation of excuses or justification or feeling the need to actually express why you wanted it. It was solely, I bought it, I wanted it, whatever. And so I was like thinking about it as like an interesting concept. So what I challenge you is maybe look at these intricate moments of things that are passed down. Because for me, when I recognized that, I was like, why can't we be like the dudes? Like, I bought it, cool. Or I'm not even going to show you, who cares? Because at the end of the day, we have the choice to stop these patterns. You don't come here to keep living these cycles. The whole point of our incarnations, to go piggybacking off of what Melanie was saying, was we're here to actually, we chose this life, we chose to learn from it, and we also chose that if we decide to have other lineage, we don't have to carry that cycle down.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's important to allow unhelpful family patterns to fall away as well. You don't have to keep carrying that. All right. So for next, we have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Risings. There's going to be a refresh and rebirth around the message that you share and the way you communicate it. So do you prefer speaking on podcasts? Or do you prefer to speak in person? Are you more of a writer than an orator? Which approach to sharing your message gets you more excited? So drop what you think you should do, and instead lean into what you really gets you excited. So I myself offer a PR strategy for busy CEOs, that we help discern which is the best use of your time, what is the most efficient way to communicate your message. If you're trying to be a leader of this new economy, how can we get you connected to the right people? Because your time is valuable and you have things to do. So what is the most pleasurable way for you to share your message? And then how can we connect you to the people that you need to be connected to?
For Capricorns, I'm actually getting the vibe of also looking at the way you communicate with your loved ones. So maybe for you, you typically hop on a phone call with your loved ones, or you communicate through text, but you would rather have some in-person time. Or Maybe these days Zoom is big. Maybe you feel like you need a Zoom call so you can actually see and read the person at least from afar. So maybe it's also reevaluating, how am I spending my time with those I love, and how am I communicating with them? And also maybe looking at that from a perspective of, am I doing and communicating, making the time for those I love? Or am I just staying head down, busy in the grind?
Right. I think Capricorn does it from a good place. Like, oh, I want to provide for my family. But you also got to like see them instead of working all the time. So we like balance here. Okay. Moving on, we're finishing up here with Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. So there's going to be a cleansing wave of clarity washing over you regarding your finances, cash money, and your idea of daily luxuries and levels of self-worth required to sustain them. So this is the time to release any hangups regarding your ability to handle money. So you already have everything within you to succeed and stack cash and build monetary security, but you have to believe in yourself that you can maintain it.
Right. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's about embodying that certainty about that money that you want, and actually having maybe a clear, concise plan of like, if I had $1 million in my bank account, what would it look like? What would my investments look like? What would the amount of savings I have actually look like? What would my day-to-day cash availability look like? And taking it from that perspective rather than actually taking it from a, oh my God, I would like that. Get clearer on what it is you want. Actually think about it from a perspective of, I'm worthy to have this, and I know it's dead set. Because one thing that I recently had like explode in my face in terms of manifestation was, when you are certain about the outcome, you manifest that much quicker. When you are certain about the outcome, you manifest that much quicker. So many of us, we don't get what we desire, not because our desires are impossible, not because we're not worthy, but it is because we don't have the actual certainty that it can happen for us. And unless you believe it can actually happen for you, it will not happen for you.
Right. You can't waffle. You got to be committed, you know.
It's not even about necessarily committing, but it's like reaffirming to yourself that you even deserve it and that you believe that it can happen. Because if you don't believe that it could even happen for you, for example, even if it's something like winning the lotto, if you buy your ticket but you don't believe you can win it, you're not going to have the right numbers. Just putting that out there as like really embodying that certainty that your desires can come and manifest into fruition. It's not just possible for those around you, but it's possible for you. So yeah, I guess this is not just an Aquarius tangent I went on, but is for all horoscopes. But yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. And finally, we finish with Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So a cleansing refresh around your physical body and the identities that you embody as well. So this is kind of like the full moon glow up energy, since it's in Pisces and you're a Pisces. So who is the person you want to be, and how can you adopt and integrate those identities into your daily life and weave them into your spiritual practices? How can you be the change that you wish to see?
Oof. So for me, with my love for Pisces people, I'm going to go back and calling them out in the sense of, it is time to prioritize yourself. It is time to prioritize yourself. Looking at your beliefs, looking at what you actually desire. And again, going back to one of the other signs that we were discussing is like, do I actually have this desire, or do I feel pressure to have this desire because of my circumstance or those around me? And taking a look at, how can I actually come from a perspective of, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about it, because I really love to do it, or I'm going to manifest this because I believe I can have it. It doesn't always have to be a justified reason. It has to be something that serves your soul.
Right. Exactly. So with that, all of the sun signs or the zodiac signs we've completed. With this full moon in Pisces, it is time to release and forgive and surrender to that which you cannot control, and mourn and feel the feelings so that you can welcome the new in, especially for the new moon coming up in 2 weeks. So with that, I am finished with my transmission.
Amazing. Well, thank you for such a wonderful reading. And then my last thought really just came in of taking this time to reassess, create that new energy. And for those of you who get scared of having negative thoughts or negative patterns coming up, I want you to take the time to really start realizing, and hear me out when I say this, your negative thought patterns, unless you continuously have them and you don't address them, are not going to actually cause you to not manifest. What that negative thought pattern or that negative emotional home you may have actually represents is patterns that you've already built that have become second nature to you. So it doesn't mean that what you want cannot manifest. It just means it's an awareness that, hey, I'm having this emotion. Let me feel it now. Let me not sulk in it. So if you have a bad day, don't make it a bad week. How can I pick myself up? Who do I need to listen to? And that's when you get into the resources of who inspires you or who is going to be there to lift you up. Maybe looking at that friend group that you have and you actually approach them like, hey, I'm having a bad day. I feel disconnected from my goals, or I feel disconnected from my dreams, and being transparent about that, because there's a beauty in vulnerability. But what you don't do is allow yourself to give up. That is what actually stops the manifestation from happening. You take a bad thought and you act on that. And a lot of times, your manifestations, whatever they may be, are literally like 0.002 away from actually manifesting. It's just, are you going to hold on in that moment, or are you going to just let it wash away? So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I look forward to connecting with you. The information to connect with Melanie and I will be down below. And Melanie, my dear, what are some services you're offering?
Right. So I personally offer one-off readings. My first one is Aligned Abundance for those that are visionaries, change makers, established healers. So that is 90 minutes. And that is $350 currently. And that's just figuring out what's going on with Jupiter and Venus for you, what's going on with your money asteroids, what areas of life are easiest for you to channel money. I also have my divine assignment and legacy building reading. That is also 90 minutes and $450. And that is focused on, the more established CEO. So what are you here for? What's the big mission? How aligned with it are you right now? What can we do to build this legacy that you're born to leave behind? Very practical. And then I also offer astrology informed PR strategy for busy CEOs. And that is focused on, you know who you are, you know what your message is, you're very proficient in your zone of genius, you're a business leader, and you want to get your message out there to build a more conscious capitalism for this new economy that we find ourselves in post 2020. So that is a 90-day container, one-on-one, and that is $2,500. So if anybody wants to learn more, you can find my contact information in the description box below. You can also find me at melaniemarisol.com or on Instagram at Melanie_Marisol.
Amazing. And if you guys want to connect with me, I am currently running a special. You will not be catching this price staying at this level, but currently I am offering a 1-hour breathwork and 1-hour coaching session for $55.55. Again, the deal is unbeatable. My normal prices for the breathwork session alone are $111. And The coaching sessions vary depending on whether you're packaged or if you are just looking for a one-off session. But right now, I just am in this mood and in this energy of serving and really broadening my horizons. So if you want to jump on that, it is the only time I'm going to be offering it at this price. And I look forward to serving you guys. And just to give you a clear idea of what you actually receive, it will be an hour session for the breathwork and the coaching. So you're not paying separate fees here. And you get a recorded session for both. You get to have a custom playlist based on your intentions. So you will connect with me. Maybe you want to work on money, or you want to work on bringing the energy of self-love, or you want to bring the energy of manifestation into you, and you want to look at what blocks are coming up for you subconsciously. That is what we are going to work on. It's completely custom tailored to your needs. It's a partnership, co-creation of sorts, and you get to have the recording lifetime access. And again, if you're interested going deeper into a container, I have various packages depending on how committed you want to be. Do you want to commit to 6 months, 3 months, 9 or 12 months? And slowly I will be bringing out a group offer, a 6-week coaching program all about bringing alignment back into your life, bringing manifestation a little bit, and actually connecting with your body, because your body is your biggest tool. So I look forward to serving you guys at a high level. If you want to connect with me, my links will be down below. Currently, my website is under construction, but we should be up within the next week and a half, 2 weeks. So the link will still be down below. I look forward to serving you. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Melanie, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing. And we will be back in 2 weeks with another new moon reading.